Okay, I gotta do the call in. I gotta get that stuff ready. All right. Actually, let's wait. Yeah, this over here, and I will work. Trump's new plan. Okay. Okay, we gotta listen to this. Let's listen to this one.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code.
We are back again. Angel Reese is a basketball player from LSU.
Ah, did that really just happen? Okay.
And she's just signed with Victoria's Secret. She's claiming, obviously, that she's the first black athlete to walk the Victoria's Secret runway. First of all, that's been debunked. There was actually another black basketball player, woman who walked the Victoria's Secret runways. Elsa Hosk. She's actually a former basketball player from Sweden. She's actually pretty and she's actually a model. But this woman is going viral right now because, as we will see in a TikTok in a minute, she doesn't like the way that she's being sexualized, despite the fact that she's signing with a lingerie company. Kind of tells you everything. What is the point of lingerie if not to sexualize yourself? It's literally what it's about. Okay, so that's what she's been posting all on her timeline. It's about her signing with that and her in literally bras and panties online. Meanwhile, she's complaining about being sexualized. Okay, first of all, it's atrocious that this woman who is not attractive, despite the Victoria's Secret's best efforts, is walking the Victoria's Secret runway show that actually used to have kind of a cachet. It actually used to kind of like mean something. It was like literally the prettiest people in the world only got to walk that show. But now I guess they're just letting anybody. I mean, as soon as they started letting fat retards walk the runway, we knew it was over, and it has been over for them for a long time. By the way, if you go down that rabbit hole of who runs and owns Victoria's Secret, quite a dark rabbit hole there, but that's a story for another time. Let's just get into the hypocrisy of what's going on with this whole scandal. So just to run it home to you again, how she is herself sexualizing herself, Angel Reese. Here's a video of her. This came out of, I guess this was like the locker room or whatever, but it was filmed and posted on social media. Here she is, quite obviously sexualizing herself in front of her friends, and yeah, it's not even sexy. Okay, not even cute at all. And then, of course, she had a tearful response when the reporter asked her about, how hard it is to be a female athlete, because, it really sucks being a female athlete because you're always being sexualized, Here's the thing. I actually don't care if you're showing off, if you're trying to look hot online. I don't give a fuck if you want to do that. But let's not be a hypocrite and show off your body and wear lingerie online and then complain that people are sexualizing it when that's the entire point of it. Okay? That's where my issue comes from, is like, let's stop with the hypocrisy. Let's stop pretending like that's not the intended response. Okay? She's currently being flamed in her comments. If you go under her post, it's nothing but people bringing up headlines of her complaining and crying and whining about being sexualized. Yeah, so here she is. This is a TikTok. This is her basically talking about how hard it is to be a female athlete and the struggles of being sexualized as a female. So take a listen to this glaring example of hypocrisy, considering the examples that I just showed you.
To stand up for myself. I mean,
Oh, no, that's fine. No, you put it on the, not, yes. Is that where it's the rotate? So this is the rotate. This is the rotate. So, 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 this basically rotate. So if I don't want it to rotate,
Welcome to Roku. Roku makes every part of the TV experience better, including the ads. You get massive reach across multiple streaming apps and channels, all in one place, so you can reach your audience wherever they stream.
It's easier than ever with Ads Manager, Roku's self-serve ads platform.
Bottom line, better TV for everyone means better advertising for you. Ready to get started?
Huh?
Sign up today.
Yes. Okay.
I have great teammates. I have a great support system. I got my hometown. I got my family that stands up for me. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong every single time. And I just try to stand strong for my teammates because I don't want them to see me down and like not be there for them. So I just want to always just know, like, I'm still a human. Like, all this has happened since I won the national championship, and I said the other day I haven't had peace since then. And it sucks, but I still wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, and I would still sit here and say, like, I'm unapologetically me. I'm going to always leave that mark and be who I am and stand on that. And hopefully the little girls that look up to me, and hopefully I give them some type of inspiration that, hopefully it's not this hard and all the things that come at you, but keep being who you are. Keep waking up every day. Keep being motivated, staying who you are, staying 10 toes, don't back down.
Okay, well, here's the reality of being online is you're actually going to receive death threats. Have you checked out my inbox lately? That's just like, it's a general stream of that, okay? I basically have a friendship with law enforcement now because I have to report all of these. So yeah, I actually don't really care about that. And another thing, you're just talking about your struggle and how you're so down and it's been so hard for you. Yeah, it must be so hard signing on with one of the world's leading lingerie companies. It must be so hard getting that contract and making millions of dollars for doing not that much. Must be so hard for you to be an ugly black woman and yet you get signed with Victoria's Secret. Yeah, really sounds hard. And the worst part of it, guys, get this. The worst part is that she has been sexualized. Oh my God. She has been sexualized. Can you believe I can't even post a picture in my underwear and bra without being sexualized. These dirty men out here, they're sexualizing me. All I did was post a video and several photos and several videos of me twerking, of me in lingerie and underwear for a lingerie campaign.
Okay.
And can you believe I am being sexualized? This is all the patriarchy. This is all white men doing this. This is all white men. I struggle. I have a dream. I have a dream of one day being able to post videos in lingerie and not being sexualized. But you better not stop sexualizing me or else you're just racist because I'm black. The only reason you don't think I'm sexy is because I'm black. But you better stop sexualizing me and you better let me post as many videos in lingerie as I want. And don't make a comment about it. As I sit on stacks of cash. Yeah, as I'm the victim, really? You know, there's actually people out there who get terrible hate comments and they have like 3 followers and they make no money. You know, those people actually exist. Must be nice. You know what? I'll take the death threats as I'm sitting in a mansion making multi-million dollars. Okay? I'll be fine. You know what? I won't even blink an eye about the mean comments as I'm raking in the dough and getting signed with Victoria's Secret. So playing the victim is just out of hand, okay? It's out of hand and it's a joke. But I think judging by the comment section under there, I think the day of people buying this story, because back in 2016, prior to 2025, people actually bought this stuff. They actually ate it up. This was like the whole Me Too era where people thought this was legit and they bought this story of, oh, girls are allowed to go to strip clubs and get wasted and hammered and wear lingerie out. And if they're sexualized, that's harassment. Really? Are you serious? It's kind of like you're asking for it, So Next time, Angel Reese,
Okay.
you're gonna have to pick two routes. You're either going to have to be the girl that doesn't want to be sexualized, or you're gonna be the girl that posts basically OnlyFans pictures for the world to see, and you're gonna have to brace yourself for some sexualization. And by the way, consider yourself lucky that anyone is even sexualizing you. I mean, have you looked at your face before? You should feel honored that anyone is actually doing that, you know? By the way, have you actually noticed that sometimes the least desirable people complain the most about being sexualized? It's like, you'll be lucky if like an old black guy wants you, you know? That's like the bottom of the barrel we've got working with. But it's always the people who are the least sexy that are always complaining about how it sucks to be a sexy woman in this world of patriarchy. It really sucks. Anyway, we stand for the right to post videos in lingerie and not be sexualized for it. So any of you scumbags who want to do that, just get out of here. Just get out of here. You are nothing. You are nothing. How dare you? Anyway, that's my little rant about Angel Reese because she's been going pretty viral. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.
Let's see if we can hit.
You know how you scroll through your feed and you see a really good headline, and you click it, you read the article, and it's written pretty well, has lots of facts and data to back up what it's saying. But then your friend sends you an article from a different publication. It has exactly the same facts, but completely different conclusions. Now you're questioning everything. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Okay.
Now you have to go do your own research. No wonder only 26% of young people trust the media these days. This wouldn't happen decades ago. Back in the day, journalism was just that, journalism. You would report the facts from both sides of the story and let the reader come up with their own conclusion.
The people who serve for the president, including all the way down to ICE agents, can be held accountable when there's a change of administration who's willing to hold them accountable when they break the law. Now, Stephen Miller is clearly ordering people to break the law. So, you know, he should know that, yeah, it may be 3 years from now that he is held accountable, but make sure, I think it's important for them to know that whatever they do now, it's not like we're going to forget, and it's not like we don't have a record of what they're doing. So that is why I mentioned Stephen Miller. That's why I mentioned other people, Tom Homan and Gregory Bavino, who's the CBP leader on the ground, the one who executed their orders in Los Angeles, which was, I mean, they did an awful job in Los Angeles and created all kinds of mayhem on the ground. Now he's doing it in Chicago. And so all these people need to recognize that, you know, you may have immunity because Donald Trump's willing to pardon anybody that's carrying out his unlawful orders, but you're not going to have it under another administration.
Boy. So we got to talk about Democrats sending threats to Trump administration officials who simply are trying to enforce immigration law, right? Like, for example, what you just saw there, Governor J.B. Pritzker on BS Now, basically telling Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem that, hey, we're going to try to put you in prison. We're going to try to put you in prison for enforcing the law, right? That is what Democrats are saying going into the so-called No Kings protest part 2. The violent protests that Democrats have started and are funding in order to voice their displeasure against the Trump administration, right? It's basically an anti-Trump hate rally, right? That's what it is, okay? And they participate in acts of violence against ICE because it's also pro-illegal and anti-law and order, okay? And this is why ICE, this is why they have to wear masks. This is why they have to conceal their identities, because of how violent these protests are.
Look, the masks, it's a bad look, all right? I understand the security problem with it, but it's a bad look. You make these men and women look like Hamas, and then you don't think people are going to react to them that way. Of course they are. They got their, you know, it's like this stupid movie, Men in Masks Not Be Trusted. You know, that's what you're setting them up for. I get the risk. Color of authority matters also. They should have a badge. You should be able to identify what they are. Nobody should have to guess that they're getting duped and they're not who they say they are. Everybody does it the same way. I get the sensitivity of the security. I'm with you. Two things that I think are getting stuck up. One, you talk about seeing data all the time. You guys do not put out data enough. Track is the best thing that they have, right? Syracuse University has this open FOIA request. I hear you on shows all the time, Tom. I do not think that you're FOS, okay? I've known you a long time. You can't say I see the data all the time. Great, I don't. Put the data out, because TRAC, you can look it up for yourself, TRAC, it's an acronym through Syracuse University. It's like 50-50. That takes me to the next point, which is you're not cutting fat, you're cutting muscle. And these communities need people who may have entered the wrong way but have done everything right since. And their kids are here, and they're productive, and their employers need them. What?
That's for Congress to do. They got to.
I'm not on. Listen, Tom and I have talked about this. You're an enforcement guy. I'm with you, and Tom makes the right point that they got to fix it. But enforcement priorities matter. Okay?
I'm being transparent tonight. 70% of everybody arrested is a criminal. President Trump said we're going to concentrate on national security threats. That's exactly what we're doing. The data shows it. And like I said, for the hundreds of thousands of criminals that is going to be removed in this administration, it makes that country safe again, keeping President Trump's promise to American people what he was going to do. He said he's going to have the largest deportation operation in history. We're going to have the largest deportation operation in history. You look at numbers right now, I just told you, over 500,000 have been deported between CBP and ICE. And that's not counting the first 4 months of the fiscal year that were under Biden. We're not even counting those months. But if you extrapolate that in the monthly apprehension we got right now, you do have the biggest operation in the history of the nation. And one of the reasons people don't understand, why do we have the most secure border in the nation's history? Because President Trump's executive orders, his leadership on that, the men and women of the border who stand in that front line and catch and release. And third, because the whole world sees ICE out there every day across this nation enforcing the immigration law, sends a clear message of consequences so families don't spend their life savings handed to a criminal cartel to make that dangerous journey because they know there's consequences. President Trump's policies, whether people want to face it or not, is saving lives by the thousands. Under Joe Biden, a record number of aliens died making that journey. A record number of Americans died from fentanyl coming across that border. This administration is not only enforcing law and making our streets safe again, they're saving thousands of lives.
Yeah, so it really is amazing to me that this is what Democrats are choosing to rally against, okay? They're rallying against enforcing the law. They're rallying against stopping crime. They're rallying against protecting the American people, right? That is what Democrats have decided is good for them to do, right? It's good for us to get a bunch of people, bunch of lunatics out in the streets committing acts of violence in order to rally against law and order, right? Again, it's amazing how that works, right? So with that being said, what really is hilarious to me is the fact that the media is trying to pretend as if these protests aren't violent, right? They're trying to say, hey, well, these are peaceful protests, and we don't know what Republicans are talking about when it comes to the violence. This is what they're saying on MSDNC, and also this is what they're saying on The View as well, too, as they worry about the protests potentially getting violent.
This weekend, organizers expect more than 2,500 protests in cities and towns, large and small, for the second No Kings Day. Tomorrow's rallies are supposed to be even bigger than the ones we saw in June, when a staggering 5 million Americans protested the Trump administration and its policies. Joining me now is Ezra Levin, co-executive director of Indivisible, which is organizing No Kings Day, which is no small feat. My goodness. I'm curious how big you're expecting these protests to be, Ezra. We've said they're going to be bigger. How much bigger than what we saw in June across this country?
Well, Alex, some historical context. The single largest day of protest in the first Trump term was this incredible display of peaceful people power and families belong together. This was against family separation policy back in 2018. That was about 750 events. It was great. It was impactful. We were part of it. The events that we're seeing on Saturday, we are expecting more than 2,600 events. We're not doubling, we're not tripling, we're nearly quadrupling the single largest protest from the first Trump term, exceeding even what we saw in June, as you noted. And look, this is going to be in big cities like Chicago and New York and San Francisco and DC. But as you saw on that map, it's in the smallest towns in America. It's in Jenner, California, population 122. It's in Homer, Alaska. We're in Montana and North Dakota, red states, blue states, purple states, rural areas, suburban areas, deep Trump country. There are indivisible groups, and there are No Kings protests that are coming together. So it's going to be a sight to see. It's going to be historic.
So talk about the concerns, the biggest ones that you're hearing from people participating in the kinds of changes they want to see.
Yeah, well, everybody's watching these Republican attacks right now. They're smearing these rallies because the Republicans in this regime are scared of peaceful protest. And honestly, they should fear peaceful protest. Every authoritarian regime succeeds by spreading fear, by making the populace feel that they are alone and that the regime is all powerful. And so the single greatest threat to their grip on power is us exercising our First Amendment rights. So I know people are watching at these smears, they're watching these attacks, they're watching this saber rattling.
This crazy No Kings rally this weekend, which is going to be the farthest left, the hardest core, the most unhinged in the Democratic Party, which is, you know, a big title.
We shouldn't have to wait until the Hate America rally this weekend or whatever it is that's driving Chuck Schumer to keep this going on, this damage that's being inflicted.
I encourage you to watch. We call it the Hate America rally that'll happen Saturday. Let's see who shows up for that. I bet you see pro-Hamas supporters. I bet you see Antifa types. I bet you see the Marxists in full display, the people who don't want to stand and defend the foundational truths of this republic.
What is he so scared of? He's so scared. What's he frightened of?
Well, he clearly doesn't recognize that the people who take to the streets to protest are protesting because they love the country and know that it could be great like that.
Why I think there are going to be 2,500 events in every single state in 50 states is because people are opposing authoritarianism. People are exercising their First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble and free speech. Right. And so I think what he should be doing is listening to the fact that so many people and so many events are going to be taking place, and there's a real problem with Republican leadership and this Republican shutdown where you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people not being paid, losing their jobs, while Congress gets paid, while Congress has health care, and the American people are fed up. Yes. And we have the ability to say that, in this country.
See, this woman is giving a flower to these guys who are holding guns.
Yeah.
So
That's iconic.
That to me is a symbolic photograph of how people feel when they're protesting. We're not here to start trouble. We just want you to hear us.
And you know,
and that
you know what?
flower is a symbol.
That's very important.
Yeah.
That we remind people to remain peaceful. Peaceful protest is
peaceful
what matters,
assembly.
and they want you to get violent. They want to be able to show the images of there being trouble. So do not take the bait. Remain peaceful.
Yeah, so you see that, you hear that. Now, what I find to be hilarious about the Democrats and the mainstream liberal media is how they have to emphasize so much that these protests are going to be so peaceful. These are peaceful protests, right? And it's like, well, if you really believe that, why do you have to emphasize that they're going to be peaceful, right? You shouldn't have to emphasize that they're going to be peaceful if you really believe that they're going to be all peaceful. And everybody knows they're not going to be all peaceful because we have footage, right? We have actual proof and evidence of these protests not being peaceful, which is why Ana Navarro had to beg. I'm begging the No Kings protesters to be peaceful because they're not peaceful. As MSNBC found out during the previous No Kings rally in LA, that was not peaceful at all.
I reiterate, this looks very intimidating. This has remained 100% peaceful as far as I have seen. People are out here with their signs. Here, may I show your sign, ma'am? Can I? You said your sign says.
We are not criminals.
Whoa, let's go.
Peaceful protest. We're not doing nothing wrong.
Whoa.
We have the freedom of speech.
Go. You want to be careful, okay? You take care of yourself. So you can see, whoa, they're messing with the horses. Guys, let's go. Let's back up here. Obviously, people are unhappy, Ari. People don't want to see horses trampling. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Hey, Ari, we're okay. We're going to keep going. Stay with us if you can. JB, want to move a little faster back. They're pushing people with horses, which obviously gets people freaked.
Jacob, you're
and
on
again,
camera,
I haven't
but
seen,
do what you need to do.
Ahead, Ari.
You're on camera, but take your time and space.
Whoa. Let's go. Oh, shit. Let's go. Whoa. We're good, Ari. We're good. Keep going.
We're looking at some pictures from moments ago of police trying to clear protesters from a No Kings demonstration in Los Angeles. You can see their smoke smoke grenades, I guess, pepper spray that appears to be being detonated there in the area as they're trying to move people away from this specific area. Jamie, this is a bit of a split screen that we are seeing between this parade going off in Washington, D.C. and protests around the country, but now some pictures like this coming in from Los Angeles.
Right. So I think we should say that apart from this scene, the other protests we've seen around the country have been peaceful.
Meanwhile,
Ramirez is now on the ground. You're looking live at the scene from Sky Fox. And again, if you're just joining us here, 5:25 on Fox 11, a day of peaceful protesting. By all accounts, unfortunately turned chaotic when the LAPD reported that certain protesters were on an overpass and had begun throwing rocks, bottles, even bricks at them. And then they issued a dispersal order when folks didn't immediately disperse from that area. Then they brought out the tear gas and things got quite chaotic, and they continue quite chaotic after a day of protesting.
With such force, which we're seeing in different pockets here throughout the afternoon as we stretch into the evening.
And Mario, what the LAPD is now reporting is that this protest has splintered off into different groups, and a peaceful march has now left downtown Los Angeles and is walking westbound on 7th Street into the Rampart area. And they're also reporting at Temple and Spring that people in the crowd are throwing bottles at the officers. And this is in addition to at Temple and Main, where officers reported that commercial-grade fireworks were also being thrown at police officers. So you do have several splinter groups of still existing peaceful protesters, according to the LAPD. They say that they are marching on...
Yeah, totally peaceful, right? Totally peaceful, okay? These people are not committing acts of domestic terrorism. That's not happening, okay? They're not doing that while waving Mexican flags, right? You didn't see that, okay? Yeah, there's a reason why they're begging. They're begging people to remain peaceful because they're not peaceful, okay? They're not peaceful. These are rioters, okay? A lot of them, again, domestic extremists participating in domestic terrorism. And I personally would not be surprised if this No Kings rally, this second No Kings rally, is a bust, okay? Because that's the only way it can be peaceful, right? It would be peaceful if it's a bust, right? If nobody shows up, okay? At this point, that's what Democrats should hope for. They should hope that it's a bust so that it doesn't result in acts of violence and chaos, okay? But if the No Kings rally is quote-unquote successful, right, which, you know, I don't know what metric that would be, right? Because the mass deportations hasn't stopped, right, as a result of the last No Kings rally. So I'm not entirely sure, you know, what they expect to accomplish with this one. But, like, let's just say a lot of people show up, okay? If a lot of these people show up, it's not going to be peaceful. There's going to be a lot of violence. There's going to be a lot of acts of domestic terrorism. And it's going to reflect badly on the Democrat Party because they're openly endorsing it, right? They're openly saying, yeah, we support this, okay? Just like they did with the BLM rallies, right? And Democrats have been stained due to their support for BLM, and they're going to be stained due to their support for this as well, too. Democrats love supporting domestic terrorism. They love supporting domestic extremism when they believe that it benefits them. And then they'll turn around out of the other side of their mouth and talk about how much they're against political violence while at the same time endorsing violent movements, right? endorsing violent movements and then pretend as if they're against the violence. They're not against the violence, because
Can
if
you
you were
guys hear
against the
me?
violence, then you would not be endorsing these movements.
How does that
right?
even sound?
That have proven to be violent. So again, if this protest is successful, right, which means a lot of people show up, again, there's going to be violence, and Democrats, once again, are going to show the country that they are the party of political violence, right? That they endorse this type of stuff. And if that is what Democrats want to show the American people, hey, be my guest. But ultimately, if it gets too violent, then it will help the Trump administration or justify the Trump administration using the National Guard. And Democrats are going to be on the hook for that as well, too. Okay? It seems as if Democrats want nothing more than chaos in this country, and their support of these rallies, okay, them funding it as well, too, really shows you that that's all they got at this point. Trump derangement. And that's it, right? And that is causing more chaos and destruction in this country. And that is what Democrats are endorsing at this point. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
Okay.
Want restaurant quality meals that actually support your wellness goals? Hi, my name's Pete. Been a chef for the past 25 years. Spent the last 7 years at Factor. Ready-to-eat meal delivery services are not created equal. At Factor, it's personal. Nutrition and flavor is first and foremost when we create any dish. Everything is done from scratch every single day. All our meals are easy, perfectly portioned, and macro-friendly. If you're wanting to cut calories, add some more protein to your diet, or just eat delicious, nutritious meals, Factor's got you covered.
Get 50% off your first box at factormeals.com.
Oh yeah, I wanted to watch this one with Steven Crowder. This would be really good. I am going to
Here's
watch
how
this
top
one with
MSPs
Steven
get
Crowder.
clients to stop questioning their prices and start questioning why they waited so long to upgrade.
Actually I've been wanting to watch this kid's video since Charlie Kirk. I haven't watched this stuff in a while, but he's a pretty cool guy.
Is white nationalism considered this fringe, extreme idea? Makes sense to me why some white people would feel this way considering what is happening to America and the West. Look, on the one hand, I'm a racial minority, right? I'm an immigrant, a naturalized citizen. So to be honest, why is white nationalism considered this fringe, extreme idea? Makes sense to me why some white people would feel this way considering what is happening to America and the West.
Yeah,
Look,
I
on the one
agree.
hand, I'm a racial minority, right? I'm an immigrant, a naturalized citizen. So to be honest, it can be kind of hurtful, the white nationalist position. Like, dang, you don't want me to be here? That's cold. On the other hand, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Eleanor Roosevelt. And look, I'll say right off the bat, I like diversity. Not in the anti-white sense that this word has come to connote, and not in the convoluted diversity is our strength kind of way, but the word in its purest meaning.
Yeah, I
Seriously.
agree.
Right.
I totally agree with him on this. Me personally, I think my life is a lot better because of different people around me having a window, an insight into how they live, and there's things that I picked up along the way that I actually really admire and want to incorporate in my life. I would have never had I never been exposed to different things, different cultures, I don't know if I really can say that I truly found my whole potential, I guess, in that sense. But I think having an immerse experience with different cultures, I think does make you a little bit more grounded. I think it makes you a little bit wiser. It makes you appreciate a lot of things that you would have never really considered. So especially when you hear their stories, where they come from. So there's a lot that you can learn from, immigrants.
Black, Asian,
Legal
Indian,
immigrants,
even
I should
Muslim,
say.
like I get along with people just fine. I love meeting new people. Being like, hey, nice to meet you. Bindija, what a lovely name. Is that like Hindi or Punjabi? Like, I love taking an interest in other people's cultures.
Yeah.
In that
I
regard,
agree.
you could say, I'm a worldly man.
Me
Man of the
too.
people. Very not
Yeah.
racist. So remember that as I continue why do we automatically regard this white nationalist position as hateful or extremist when it is arguably neither of those things, right? This is just a natural and understandable reaction to what has been going on. I mean, I can see why some people can take it offensively, right? At the root of it, white nationalism is the idea that America needs to preserve its white, Western Christian identity and culture by, among other things, stemming the tide of both legal and illegal immigration into the country so that America remains majority white. And so if you're not white, your gut reaction could be like, hey, white people, America doesn't just belong to you. And I would tend to agree to the extent that that America belongs to the American people, right? And no matter how you feel about it, the American people are people of all colors. But at the same time, like, I kind of get why they would feel this way, you know, because their ancestors did build the country. And nowadays, they're getting dogged on so hard. In the past few years, anti-white racism and resentment and grievance culture has somehow found its way to the center of the fabric. It became mainstream, I think, during the Obama years. And
Thank
before,
you.
at least in the late 90s or the early 2000s, as
Hear
I
people
recall,
say
it was
that.
all about colorblindness, seeing
Mhm.
people for the content of their character, not the color of their skin. I think those were the days to live, right? Nobody had a smartphone, and it was the heyday of a harmonious post-racial society. Be that as it may, that you may never fully accomplish that, but it was the closest we've ever gotten. But the American left began singing a different tune in the 2010s, that we must see race. We must see it everywhere. Colorblindness equals white supremacy. There's systemic racial oppression going on, and that explains racial disparities we see today. No. And this grievance culture bore some pretty ugly things that are going on today. Open racial hatred against white people. Academics from good universities writing literature on how, quote unquote, whiteness, not white supremacy, but whiteness is
Yeah,
akin to a disease that must be eradicated.
exactly.
Members of the media and politicians saying things about white people,
Yeah, I know. That kind of like disgusts me too in a bit. Talking about how when people want to be so close to whiteness, as if whiteness is something to be feared or is something that's bad. It sounds like the media in itself was actively trying to divide people by just giving a negative connotation to just whiteness. But the one thing that just made it really interesting though with all of that is why they were actively trying to make people have this connotation about white people, they were also actively trying to make people see black people in a superior light. Like you literally had white people kissing black people's feet, like in some weird, I don't know, some old, some dark ages type craziness. I guess because they really wanted to feel like kings and queens. But that actually did happen, and I don't think we would be okay. We would have been okay with that if we saw a whole bunch of white people telling black people to, kiss my feet like they did in the park. I can find that video, but that video went viral because white people were bending the knee and kissing black people. Well, I'm gonna say kissing, it was more like bowing at their feet. Like, what the fuck? Get up. Like, I'll be damned if I let like anyone, I don't care who it is, be like, you are not, who the hell are they? Who the hell are they? Like, no one's gonna have me on my knees saying thank you to anybody. I don't give a damn who you are. For what? Past transgressions, shit that happened over 400 years, anywhere between 400 years, 200 years ago to 400 years ago. Like, slavery was here like way long before the colonies, you guys. So yeah, it's gonna take a lot for me to bend the knee down to anybody. I will not.
could never imagine them saying about anyone else.
We should be more fearful of white men across our
No,
country
we should be
because
more
they are
fearful of people in turbans. How would you like that? We should be more, and it's not even being fearful at this point. And it's like, it's not even being fearful at this point. When it comes to this particular person and her religion, I think there needs to be things that I think there's things that should be addressed, and it's time to like really stop fucking around. We wouldn't like it if white Democrats were going around doing the KKK dance again, right? Well, if we wouldn't like that, go and they're going around with their hoodies on and their gowns on. There's another particular religion that likes to wear hoodies and gowns too, face mask, I should say, but they like to blow people up, you know? So I think we should call out the extremists, like those motherfuckers, and I don't even think that they should even be in America. Like I'm just gonna say it right then and there. They wouldn't want us in their country, so why would I want them in my country? If you are an extremist and you can't fucking get with it, and you can't get with the program, you just want to kill everybody, you can get the fuck on. Like you can literally move out of America and go over to one of those other places that you know good and well you can't act a fool in. But in particular, people of that, in my opinion, people of that religion, we should not be allowing them into our government because, you know, the biggest threat that people, especially, I don't get it, people like her, meaning melanated, not so much Muslims, you don't have to worry about Christian leaders trying to round you up and behead you. You have to worry about her kind, the extremist kind, even the Muslims who are nice, the liberal Muslims, you can say, the ones who just use it as a calming technique, not as a warring technique. Those Muslims, they don't even want the radical Muslims around. But this woman right here and the Talita Rashid types and the Zoran Mandani types, those motherfuckers, they can kick rocks. And they don't even come from, to be honest, they don't come from places that, in my opinion, like their asylum status, their how they got to America status should be looked into. I'm pretty sure, like for Zoran Modani, like what type of visa did he come into America? Like let's just he's the type of guy who's always trying to say he's for the people and socialism, right? How did he get to America? Because like it most definitely couldn't be through asylum seeking or refugee seeking. So he was a rich man who came to America from a poor country, but he was already rich there to begin with, in the first place. But he's going to come to America to try to help the poor people in America when he couldn't help the poor people in the country that he was born in Uganda. Let's just get that straight in our heads, y'all. Like some people are just stupid. Like I shouldn't say people are stupid. Some individuals on a certain side of the aisle, they just do not have common sense. They don't think. They don't critically think.
Causing most of the deaths within this country.
There's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. So no plans to change that language on your website.
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that use of that language is necessary.
Shocking mass brutality. What is it that makes white men so prone to this kind of behavior, and what might be going on today in our country? People are stoking a sort of victim complex among white men. You know, whiteness is never seen as a cause in and of itself of these kinds of massacres, of other forms of violence, despite the fact that whiteness is a structure of privilege and it's a structure of power, and a structure that when it feels threatened, lashes out.
There's no anti-white.
It lashes out.
You are perpetrating anti-humanist issues here.
There's nothing more frightening in America today than an angry white man, says CNN.
I didn't see white men going around trying to kill people. I most definitely didn't see a whole bunch of Asian men going around killing people. Didn't see anyone who looks closely related to being white, like say like a white Spanish man going around killing people. No, I don't tend to see those individuals going around and destroying stuff. Everybody knows who are those individuals who tend to go around and destroy stuff. Not just only here in America, but also abroad.
The U.S. should be more fearful of white men, says a congresswoman. And surprise, surprise, the sludge from this rhetorical swamp trickles down and seeps into the minds of the young. And you hear some young people in America nowadays saying some pretty racist things whenever they have a negative experience with a white person. And it's not just this. It's like they're actively trying to erase the white American identity in the name of righting historical wrongs.
Yeah, they are.
Whatever racial injustice occurs to white people, you just have to take that. That's not injustice, they say. That's justice with a vengeance. If a white person gets hate crimed, gets killed, crickets from the media. Austin Metcalf, Irina Zarutska. Why is no one from the legacy media saying these were racial hate crimes? Apparently, their lives don't matter. But if it's the other way around, right? If it's a black person who gets killed at the hand of a white person, right? Which is a lot rarer, if we're being honest. That's a front page headline for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Apple stores and Foot Lockers across the country have to brace for justice headed their way. Reverend Sharpton, are you available for an interview? Whoop-de-doo, I sure am. And then there's that word, diversity. What the left means by diversity is diversity equals not white.
It is true.
If you include white people in something, that defeats diversity. It's crazy, this mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is an overcorrection, a pendulum swing
No.
too far the other direction, or just
No, it's not. It's okay. The racism that was portrayed from whites to blacks was under one party. That was called the Democrat Party. Now you have blacks being, blacks, gays, trans, pro-Palestine, pro-Palestine. This cornucopia of fuckery, this cornucopia of misfits, literally all under the Democrat Party. They are now directing all their racial hate towards one group, white. It's not this pendulum going the other way. No, it is one party that is hell-bent on identity and racial grievances since its inception. Once you know that, if you understand how the Democrat Party came into fruition, then you would understand its ideology and how it has manifested itself today. It has never changed. It's the same platform. The only difference is now they don't see white people as the winning ticket. They see all these people who have grievance with the world as their ticket. That's the only difference. But the same party.
But still a crazy double standard. We can have segregated graduation ceremonies, dormitories, student unions, except one for whites. Because why? Celebrating diversity. In our entertainment, if the cast is all black or all Asian or something, that's diverse.
That's not diverse.
If the cast is all white, oh, that's problematic. We need to do something about that.
It's like,
even if it's a period drama set in medieval Europe, that's nuts. I watch a lot of Korean period dramas, and if I saw an Indian dude in the royal court, right? Like, he's not visiting from foreign lands, but he's just a part of it. He works there. And he's going like, 전하, 통촉하여 주시옵소서. I'd be like, no offense.
But what the fuck are you doing here? Exactly.
And not to mention, they're replacing known characters from European folklore. Snow White is Snow Brown. The Little Mermaid is black, which is bogus. Like, why not just make up new characters? Why is Ariel black? And man, you can't even say none because of all these TikTokers uploading TikToks of their kids going like, Mommy, she looks like me. And we're all supposed to go, oh, representation matters.
Mom, I don't want to do this.
You better react before you can see smack. Act like you care.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they gonna love this one.
If in 10 years' time, Disney makes Mulan black, I'm gonna crash out. Y'all fam destroyed the dynasty! Whoa, Mulan, why are you always angry? And so if I were a white person, seeing all this going on, this ingrained culture of anti-white hatred and resentment, erasure of distinct cultural identity in the name of multiculturalism, on top of rapid demographic change fueled by mass illegal immigration, and a general culture of disdain by segments of the population towards the country and all for which it stands, look, if I were a white person, and remember, I'm very, very chill, but even I would be like, man, f this shit. Like, seriously, what the actual is going on right now? I'm being disrespected for simply just existing, being blamed for everything on the very land on which my ancestors built this country. That's it. Stop coming here. And if you hate it so much, why are you here? Literally, why are you here? You're coming here talking all this smack about America, but we all know you'd rather live here than wherever you came from. That's why you're here. And you don't have to get on your knees and go, oh, thank you, America. Thank you. Has anyone ever told you that gratitude is a virtue? Representative Ilhan Omar?
Thank you.
In what other country can a refugee become a congresswoman and then spend the entirety of her career dogging on that country? Only in the USA, folks. That's because
That's like, to be honest, I think if a war actually broke out, I think that's the only way this would actually be fixed. I don't see it actually um, going anywhere. But if a war were to break out, it would shake the whole world. Like, when I mean the whole world, like if U.S. end up getting involved in a war, or there's a civil war that ends up breaking out here, there will be civil wars everywhere. And people will learn really quickly about allegiances to countries. And when I mean to tell you that countries, after the wars are over, they're going to make sure they fend and defend their borders. There will no longer be asylum or refugee programs. Like, I want people to really understand this, because in this globalization, this is literally history just repeating itself. We just look at people's DNA and see that this is history repeating itself. When crazy migration like this happens, and civil unrest occurs, massive death occurs, people board up their borders, asylum seeking refugee, no one's coming across anyone's borders anytime. No one cares whether or not you're hungry. No one cares whether or not you're seeking economic opportunities. Everyone will close their borders, and if you come, they don't care. They will shoot you in the face, in the foot, and they won't care. And I'm gonna just say, remember how we got here. Remember the day when countries closed their doors to each other's, suffering, running away, because we allow globalism to overwrite independent sovereign nations. That will be the day we should remember, hopefully, but we're not going to remember, because I have a feeling this has happened before. It's just another playbook. No, it's just the same play using another crisis as the playbook or the catalyst.
freedoms and the opportunities here. So enjoy your freedom that you can do that. But I personally think it's one of those situations where just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I've gotten so many messages over the years, like, oh, like, you're a pygmy, like, look at this Asian boy glazing white people. Okay, first off, shut your bitch ass up. It's crazy. I can't have an opinion. It's not like I'm going like, oh, arigato, white people, for all the cars and planes and stuff.
POC could never.
If I were like that, you could be like, okay, let's rein it in, because you're embarrassing the rest of us. But I don't really think of it as glazing white people. It's more like a game recognized game type situation. You try building a civilization people want to come live in, and then have those same people or their joyous offspring start complaining about it. You be the same, okay? You'd be like, okay, that's it. Love it or leave. Koreans, they're not even like love it or leave. They're like, just leave. You've been watching way too many K-dramas, got you the wrong impression of Koreans. We don't know you like that. Please leave. I'm Korean American, right? I'm surrounded by Korean people, a lot of Korean immigrants, and first gens whose parents are immigrants. They're very socially conservative, but a lot of them dislike Trump because they perceive him to be anti-immigrant, and Koreans in America stand in the shoes of immigrants. But as Korea has witnessed a phenomenal economic rise from abject poverty to relative affluence in the span of mere decades, Korea is now in a position where foreigners attempt to immigrate to Korea, sometimes illegally. And so, if you ask Korean people, Heck, if you ask Korean people in America, heck, if you ask Korean illegal immigrants in America, should Korea welcome undocumented people with open arms? 90% of them will look you dead in the eye and tell you, nope. Korea is for Koreans. We built this country. It's ours. Yes, I know there's a smidgen of irony here, but that's not just Koreans. That's just people. It's the way of the world. And so think about this way of the world when I say white people built this country. Built a system of government that derives its power from the consent of the governed, created individual rights and liberties, invented separation of powers, checks and balances, blah, blah, blah. That's why they feel some type of way about millions of people crossing the border illegally and changing the cultural fabric of the country, all the while being subject to a massive gaslighting campaign by immigrants talking about how the West is this terrible place. And then I'm sure someone might respond like, oh, slavery built this nation. Okay. Picking cotton is not,
Yeah, slavery did not build this nation. As a matter of fact, it was slavery that hindered the development of this nation that you can even see till today. Thank you, Democrats, for your socialist ideals, backwards ideals, communist ideals. The South today is pretty much deserted when it comes to manufacturing, because slavery was the manufacturing industry down here. They were the ones who made everything. And because of that, you didn't have industries. You didn't have like your mill towns and stuff like you do up north, or even in the Midwest, or along the East Coast and the West Coast. So no, Black Americans, when it comes to the building of America, when we think about its wealth today, I don't think that you guys build as much wealth as you think that you did when it comes to the development of our country. The railroads, yes, for a time, cotton and all that, when agriculture was king for a little bit, yes, but then that dwindled a while and went away a while ago. There's, tech industries, all those types of industries. There's barely any industries that come out of the South, barely any, and that's for a reason. There's no infrastructure down here for that to happen, because it was never built to begin with in the first place, because slavery was here. So that's one of the reasons why in the South there's not a lot of well-paying jobs. But keep telling yourself that because of our ancestors suffering, that they were the main ones who built this country. I'm sorry to tell you, but he had a whole bunch of people move here and build this country and contributed to it in ways way more substantial than what Black people did. And that is just honest fact. Asian people came over mainly on the West Coast, but you had your Irish, your Italians. You go up to the Northeast, all of that, the Midwest, all of that. Yes, was some of the Midwest partially built by some of the slaves? Yes. Let's also not forget about the White House. But the White House didn't just have slaves building that. You also have regular non-slaves building that. So y'all didn't build everything. So like this pretentious that, Black people build everything. It's now, that's now being replaced with Hispanics build everything now. And I even hear how people say people of color build America, not just Black people anymore. So that shit, that particular line, it doesn't work anymore. And when you vouch to let illegals keep coming in to actually take your jobs, which they actually have in construction and hospitality, when they say Hispanics built this country, can we even really ignore that now? Black people have been very lazy in those parts of the world when it comes to work. Well, when it comes to that topic of working. Um, but I don't know. It could be because they were priced out, to be honest. That's what I think. You got priced out of the industries because no one wanted, like, you had to compete against the white man going up north for those industry jobs. And then you listen to Democrats when they told you that immigration is good, but when black Republicans like Frederick Douglass and many others say that immigration was bad for black people who listen to Democrats, they were pretty much on board and voted for those politicians who were more lenient on immigration, which in turn came in and started taking their jobs. I have heard black people talk about this, not only just, walking around, but on news. There's been news channels that talk about this too, or interviews. There used to be black men going to construction sites. You don't see that anymore. That's been dominated by Hispanics for quite some time. That used to be mostly whites and blacks. Not anymore. But guess what? Those nice paying jobs for individuals who wanted to use their hands, they no longer exist for Americans because, well, we priced ourselves out. Okay? By allowing our politicians who were lenient on illegal migration to then allow these illegals to come up and take good paying jobs. But, gift that keeps on giving those Democrats.
Picking cotton is not easy. So, shout out to the slaves. And it's not that I think white Americans of today can take credit for the contributions of their ancestors in the same way they can't take blame for their ancestors' wrongdoing, right? As I've insisted from the first video on this channel, you can only be responsible for and claim credit for things which are within your individual control.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look, everyone is entitled to feel a sense of pride in their heritage, in the legacy of their ancestors, and a desire to preserve the culture and identity of their people. There's nothing extreme about that. There's nothing extreme about taking an anti-mass migration stance because of it, not wanting to dramatically change the demographic composition of the country. And that doesn't just stop because we're talking about white people, and that doesn't just stop because we're talking about a country like the United States. In fact, it's all the more pertinent, the drive to preserve and defend, in the setting of mass migration, rapid demographic change, and culture of racial resentment. All of you can see what's going on in Europe. Western civilization is being consumed from the inside out by newly arrived immigrants who are salivating over its downfall. So why wouldn't some white people feel the desire to defend the legacy of their ancestors? If someone attacked the legacy of my ancestors, I'd do the same. If I were white and someone was like, oh, white people have no culture, I'd be like, try walking into an art museum, idiot. Do you see the difference in technical skill employed in European classical art versus everywhere else? There I go again with the glaze.
It's still the white man's America. Oh, Lord, thank you for the white man.
So then, ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, I think I've proven myself to be one of the good ones, so I guess I deserve to stay. And secondly, if you're so preoccupied, concerned with the rise of white nationalism, it's a crisis, baby, stop attacking white people every chance you get. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't want your life to be in danger, if you are so in fear of white people, you should probably not attack white people. The last thing you want to do is keep attacking and keep attacking and keep attacking and keep attacking and keep attacking, and then one day they fucking rise up like the Crusades and just, I don't know, annihilate everybody. I wouldn't want that. Okay? I don't want that for me, for obvious reasons. Okay, so I agree with him. If you don't want the smoke from white people because you're scared of them, right? Because of their whiteness, then I would behoove you to stay as far away from them as possible. Don't mix with them. Don't be anywhere near them. And matter of fact, segregate yourself from them altogether. They would be happy, I promise you. And so would you. You would have a peace of mind. If you're a black person and you just have that much fear about white people, like for your mental health, it'll just be wise not to don't fuck with the white man, right?
And
Just don't do
I have
it.
one more tidbit for you. Enforcing immigration law is not racist.
It's not.
No matter the disparate impact it has on certain communities, because those communities are the ones that disproportionately make up the illegal immigrant population.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
It's not.
And then playing the victim like, oh, you're being racist against us. This is happening to us because we're brown. After you broke into the country illegally, and the country now has to spend taxpayer money to expel you, is a terrible look. Not for America,
but for you.
For you.
Yeah.
Personally, I would like to see some illegal immigrants who've paid their taxes and committed no other crimes to be able to stay, but you're not helping your case.
So, and here's the thing too, when it comes to that whole illegal migration thing, the only people that this makes look bad are Hispanics, the Browns. You don't see Haitians waving flags. You don't see Asians waving flags. So you don't have this, you don't hear that much smoke for blacks. You don't hear that much smoke for Asians. You only hear the smoke for the brown ones. Why? Because they're being the dumb idiot ones. They're the ones waving the stupid Mexican inferior flag. That's what they're waving. They're waving that. And because they're waving that, you're going to piss people off. You're the main target that people are going to say. They're going to hate Mexico. They're going to hate all Mexicans. As soon as they fucking hear someone speaking Spanish, it's going to be like, you need to speak English or call ICE. All right? Yeah, I see some people who speak French down here in Florida. And then, it didn't really dawn on me why I wanted to speak French growing up. And now I'm like, fuck, I should have learned German instead, because being black in Florida, learning French, I went to learn French not because of the fucking Haitians, not because of them, but because of the more, how can I say, more civilized groups called the French. And more in particular the Canadian French. That's who I wanted to learn French for, or just to go to a francophonic country, which I did end up going to. It's Belgium. So, but now that I'm back in the States and I'm in Florida, it kind of sucks ass when I speak French, because I don't want people to automatically think I'm from Haiti. Don't want to be in that group, but don't want to be looped in with that group. I just don't. Okay? So I understand. And therefore, I'm not going to speak French because I don't want ICE coming for my ass. But it's just being simple and smart. If you're in this country illegal and you don't want to be ousted as an illegal, especially by someone like me, because I don't like illegals, period. Then maybe it would behoove you to stay under the radar. So all those who are out there who haven't got caught yet, I can't really hate on you. You are actually playing the game right. You're playing it correctly. Even though it's wrong, you are staying under the radar. And if you stay under the radar, ICE is not going to catch you. And people like me, we're not going to care. But the ones that we want ICE to really catch are the ones who are very blatant about it. Not just the criminals, but the ones who are very blatant about it too. Take their ass out of here right along with the criminals. Goodbye. They, especially the ones who sit up on Instagram, smacking, chewing, talking about Mexico, with that very Americanized accent. Can't even speak Spanish if they wanted to. They're American born, right? Those American born people who have family members over in America who are from Mexico, who are there illegally, right? They're just there. I get it. You're there, holding it down with your family. I totally get it. You don't want them leaving. You don't. But at the same time, would you think it's a wise thing to go on, Instagram or these little, these videos where you come and talk to a stranger and you're proudly waving in legal, like in a Mexican flag. Like these are one of those. I'm trying to think of one of those. Like Amogli. These are these video type web apps that you can go and talk to people randomly online, right? So I would watch a lot of those videos where random people talk to just random strangers. And there's one girl, she was on there with another friend, and she had Mexican flag, and everyone was asking, "Hey, so you're Mexican or American?" Because they just wanted to know. And they're like, "Oh, we're American." And they're like, "So why are you wearing a Mexican flag?" Or they're like, "Oh, because they have family members from Mexico who are Mexican living in America who are not legal residents." And then the guy understood with these two girls. They, like most people, it's normal. They're their family members. Why wouldn't they want to protect them, right? But do you think the best thing that you're doing is broadcasting this? Why would you broadcast that you have family members who live in America who are here illegally? You're not doing yourself any favor. You're just virtue signaling. The very people that you're trying to protect are the ones who are going to get fucking, hemmed up in all this. And all this is just what? What? It's like, wow. I don't know. You get some people like that. You just get people like that. So I'm like, I feel like, well, those girls, they were American citizens, so their citizenship couldn't be revoked. But if they were like green card holders, because that shit can be revoked, and they're doing shit like that, harboring illegals, revoked, out of here, right along with your criminal, illegal, family members. That's what I would do personally.
Is when you do that, I think.
Oh.
But
Okay.
no matter who you are, right? No matter what color or gender, creation or immigration status, or even just level of attractiveness, just know on this channel, it's all love here. I appreciate your time, and see you in the next video.
You got your own area.
Then don't ask them to pay for it.
And we're not because once again.
Oh, so you want them to stay away but foot the bill.
So you got to do that with everything
and
else in the tax code.
Now it's the boodle and nothing is it. Stay away from us but pay for us. Do you realize that guy's going to hate you?
Ignoring that other side of the coin. If we're going to do that, if we're going to give you that, then you got to go through everything and you got to give us the same thing. We're not going to pay for certain shit that we don't agree with.
Can I ask you something?
Oh, here's the thing though, bro. I'm going to tell you straight up. Black people, y'all need white people in America. The thing is, you don't have the smarts, you don't have the liquidity, you don't have the equity, okay? In order to do all these things, and have your neighborhood look somewhat up to par, anywhere close to any of the other demographics. You need white people to make your neighborhoods look great. You need everyone else to make your neighborhoods look the way that it is, because y'all just don't make good choices in life enough to bring in a whole bunch of money as a group, contribute to taxes, at least when it comes to property taxes, because a lot of y'all probably don't even own your own homes. A lot of them don't even own their own homes. They're probably renting or on some sort of government assistance. Some of them can buy homes on government assistance. But if Black people were to just be by themselves, only take, if you were to just take their whole entire amount of money, their collective amount of money, and pour it into their communities, it will still be poor. Unfortunately, you need people in other demographics who actually strive in education to get higher jobs so that they can pay into taxes so that you can get a higher return, or just get a return, and just have money available in the welfare funds so you can have all the things that you guys have. It's just sad. Unfortunately, when you just look at the proportion of the population and how much they're receiving in welfare, it's like, and I know it's only anecdotal. Every person that I know who's Black have been on welfare at one point or another, okay? So it's like, to sit here and try to tell me, I know 100% of Black people in my life, and I know that's anecdotal, But all those who are black, how many, and if you were going to be honest, ask yourself, how many people you know who are black are on welfare? Just any type of welfare. Every single black person I know is on it, or was on it. I mean, for at one point I was on it when I was looking for a job on unemployment. But other than that, it was only unemployment. It was only unemployment for me because that's all I could qualify for. But I couldn't get no freaking housing assistance, no freaking food stamps, no Medicaid, none of that shit. So.
Real talk. While we're having real talk, why do young black men fight in packs?
Welcome back. As I'm sure you've noticed, race relations in America aren't exactly where we would hope they'd be in 2025.
Shit.
Considering the
Black girls fight in packs. I remember getting beat up after school. Okay, in packs. My first glimpse of what the hood was. Because I was sheltered, all right, and then foster care. And I came in foster care, and I remember the first public school I went to. I remember the first public school bus I got onto. And I got off the school bus after school and going to my foster mom's house. There was this big bitch who wanted to beat me up in the streets. Don't know why, but that was just how it was in the hood. New kid on the block, you know, they all knew where all the foster care kids was at this one lady's house. And all the kids, well, they just wanted to beat up on the new kid on the block. That's literally what it was in the hood. So, and it was girls. It was just girls. The guys didn't participate, so it's not just black boys who jump people. Black girls jump too. White girls, white boys, Spanish boys, French girls. I'm pretty sure everybody fucking jumps. But it, you know, yeah. So I can't really, you know, I can't really attest to it. I do know that it does seem to be more whites when it started off one-on-one with a fight with a black. It then morphs into a whole bunch of black people jumping on a white person. I have seen that a hell of a lot more than it happening the other way around. And my thing is, if it's, you know, if it starts off one-on-one, let it stay one-on-one, you know, because I'm gonna be like, if it starts one-on-one and I agree to a one-on-one and then I get jumped, oh, rest and believe I'm gonna have payback on every single last one of them. I'm going to jump them when they least likely know it or you know expect it. That's usually how it would go back in the day, or at least that was the level of courtesy. That was the norm. If you got jump, well, at least when I was growing up. So the ones who ended up jumping in when they weren't included in the fight, yeah, they ended up getting their ass beat one way sooner or later. But now that kind of culture has gone away. People like to use guns now.
Over the past year or few, one can understand why.
22-year-old Logan Federico lived in North Carolina and was visiting friends in Columbia back in May. Authorities say her alleged killer, Alexander Dickey, entered the home that she was staying in and shot her.
Investigators also say Dickey was on a crime spree before killing Logan.
A Collin County grand jury indicted 18-year-old Carmelo Anthony with first-degree murder. He's accused of stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet earlier this year.
Killing a Ukrainian refugee on Charlotte's light rail last month, being put into handcuffs. This new chilling video is one of nearly a dozen new clips now in the hands of WBTV.
Yeah, that
would prompted me to go back to the barbershop and start the conversation that you saw in part 1 of this video last week.
You guys heard of the term black fatigue?
And if you thought that was heated, all I have to say about part 2 today is hold on to your butts.
I didn't see the first one.
What I said earlier, and you listen to this, is when you have a young white person going, okay, why is this happening? And people go, Black Lives Matter. And they go, well, hold on a second. I have an opinion on Black Lives Matter. They go, well, sit down, shut up. Okay, now silence is violence. And that kid goes, well, what do I do? By the way, you're on the hook for reparations, even though his father, his grandfather, his great-great-grandfather didn't own a slave, and he's still 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person the other way around. You're going to. What I'm saying is society is going to create a generation of racists. What do you say to that young white kid? What do you say to him?
Stop watching. Stay off of TikTok.
Stop reading stats.
Stop paying attention to what these talking heads are saying, because they're leading you down the wrong path. They're leading you down a path of paranoia and conspiracy theories.
What if their interactions?
That's not conspiracy theory or paranoia, when that's what the society is literally morphing into, and it's literally being shown how to be racist towards white people. Telling them silence is violence, telling them their whiteness is a problem. This is not just something on the news. This is something you've heard in school. If I'm not mistaken, there have been, oh my God, school videos leaked from classrooms where children are being told, if I'm not mistaken, there was one, and these were Muslims actually, but they were told how they have to be accommodating to like LGBTQ, right? But this is basically what I'm saying is not just the news where you hear all this stuff. You have it in the classrooms too, especially where the students are just fighting each other, fighting. Some even wanting to fight teachers. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on in school that is like shocking to people. Just shocking.
Black people in general are quite negative.
So same thing, give the same thing in reverse. What about black people who've had continuous, not only historical, but personal experiences?
Yep.
Where they've been at the wrong end of white people.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you.
And then we get told that those stories are invalid.
No, you're not.
Yes, we do.
You're not.
I've been personally told my story was invalid.
I'll give you an example. And by the way, the only thing that keeps my heart protected from racism, by the way, the only thing that protects me from not wanting to go out and kill the person who shot Charlie Kirk, because by the way, there are two people on earth who know what it's like to sit in that chair. Me and him. And I just did it at SMU and had to have entire bulletproof glass and an army to go in and have conversations, right? So I'm a little bit pissed off about it. Also, people have tried to take my life many times. So I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for anyone, white or black, saying, oh, must be. Yeah. You ever have someone show up at your house? You ever have someone show up at your house when your kids are sleeping with weapons being swatted? Like, we've been living through this for a long fucking time and told you don't know what it's like. I will say this. My faith is what has protected me. My faith is what has protected my heart from becoming racist. But I've had a lot of negative interactions. That's why I'm sitting here. We'll have to edit this because just the word. By the way, if you want a relaxing vacation, stay home. Don't go to. I know, but my kids love it. So I go there.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. You have like this magic wand thing. You run around.